Hey there guys, welcome back to another tournament report with yours truly, Paul Reisman. Today we are taking a look at a couple of GPs that happened this past weekend, most notably Games and Geek's GP Minnesota that happened on April 13th, 2024. Without further ado, let's dig right in.
Brought to you by Odyssey Games for pre-orders and sealed product, CCG Prime for tons of singles and supplies, Cardo Doko for international rulers looking for products, and FoulLibrary.com for articles and wonderful deck lists, as well as our guest lecturer members King Pearlshine, Vite Ramen, Mognite, and Darren Noblock. Class is in session.
Alright guys, let's take a look at the ruler breakdown here before we get into the deck profiles. So, we had about 60 players up in Minnesota. We were hoping for a few more than that, but you know what? We'll take 60. That's higher than average, and that's a win in our book. We're looking at Killua and Aristella Little Red being the most represented rulers. Kind of a Wild West situation, and so a lot of people were saying, hey, aggro thrives best in the Wild West, and it seems that that was the case, because you might be able to see it down there that one of the Killua decks actually did convert and win the entire event. So this might have been the right call. That's kind of how your metagame was shaping up. It was kind of not looking like anything, so let's take the most reliable aggro package we can and just pilot it as we go into this. Outside of that, we had several Seer Christies, Lumia Sherry, Order Odin, Grim, Alice, Ayu, Pandora of Light and Dark, Typhon, Kaguya 3, that's the one with the foot. We were calling her Foot Kaguya. Not calling her that, so just get over it. And then we had one-ofs of Almerius, Zero, and Brunhild, and then the others were just one-ofs that did not convert, unfortunately. But into the top 8, we did see that Almerius and Brunhild did convert, which is why I thought it was important to actually highlight those. There were one-ofs in the entire tournament. We also had a Seer Christie, a Sherry Christie, and then 4 of the top 8 spots were converted by Killua. One of which was Will Miller, who ended up winning the entire thing and getting his paid invite to Japan. So congratulations, first of all, to him. He's just super excited to go because we had him on stream. He was just a really fun player to watch. He just played everything really, really tight. And you're noticing here that his Killua build is a little, in some ways, unconventional, right? So he's playing 4 Lorite, 4 Chev's Tears, 4 Killua in the city, 4 Conflict, 3 Eggs, a Farer's Spell on top of the Conflict, which I think is a really good way of just saying, I have 5 cancels. These are really helpful for that. And he's only playing 3 Divine Lightning alongside 2 Grand Leon and a single Garion, which I think he saw a lot more than I would have imagined he would. He did side the other 2 Grand Leons as well. Terror in the Ice, this is a really good target for Conflict, to be able to remove it and just say no to your opponent. Anytime they want to play something on the chase, you can just say, for free, I'm going to remove this card that I do not need any longer. No Bite, No Fight, Ice Melter Dinosaur, and then of course, this means war. It's time to, let's fight. Magic Stone deck was pretty conventional. He's playing basically 5 Spirit Stones with the 4 Atom Stones, and then his side deck was looking like your typical Rogue Shiva, Darkness Moonchild on the sideboard because he's main decking Wind Moonchild, then Electra in the side, the 4th Divine Lightning alongside his 2 Grand Leons, his Cthulhu's in the sideboard as well, and the 3 Beast Warriors, which I think was really interesting. He was, I think, the only player in the top cut to actually sideboard these cards alongside his 2 Raging Messiahs. This is really good addition removal in addition to your Killua Girls in the City. That's really helpful for that particular thing. And this is something that's really popular in Europe as well, and we did not see it a lot here at this tournament, but being able to just dump 2 Raging Messiahs game 2 and 3 to just say, like, hey, my Grand Leons are going to do a whole bunch of damage to you. They're going to be dealing 12. My Divine Lightnings are going to be able to deal 16s. There's just a lot of really good stuff here. Oh, never mind. Chivalry's Tears can also burn for 16 under a Raging Messiah, which is kind of insane. But this is Will Miller's deck. In general, this was kind of the standardized expectation going into this. I definitely did not know if he was going to win going into game 2, but that was certainly the case. He was just able to burn his opponent out, and wow, what can I say? Congratulations to Will for getting into this. I know we had a interview up, and he seemed very excited to go to Japan, and congratulations to him. Second place went to Jeremy Lindley, who was playing Sherry Christie. This is pretty much the other deck to expect going into this. You're playing your Gates of Refarth, your Heavenly Magics, and your Refarth's Castle to fuel that engine. This is ultimately to stack on top of Magic Dance of Chaos. This is something that allows you to play Heavenly Magic and do kind of really degenerate things on turns 2 and 3. So depending on the number of true Magic Stones, which if you scroll down here, you'll notice he's playing 4 of the Pure Heart Stone. Pure Heart does not count toward this. This is something I continue to forget all stream, which is not something I like to admit, but this is a special Magic Stone, not a true Magic Stone. It just gains the names of true Magic Stones. It doesn't actually take on the typing true Magic Stone. So being able to say, you know, I have minus 12 in my stone deck when I just play this 1-drop edition seems really strong. Heavenly Magic is really good because it also it not only draws you cards when you cast it initially from your hand, but when you do the activate ability from graveyard to recover your stones, you can do some pretty insane things and generate some pretty insane amounts of will very early on, even with 2, even, you know, as minimum as 2 stones I've seen, but you can do probably even some degenerate things with just 1 stone. This package was absolutely crazy. We have conversation about whether or not this package should be banned alongside something in Killua to bring her down in terms of power or playability, but that's probably ultimately going to be conflict. This deck kind of highlights everything that's going on in the metagame right now. This is the deck that you honestly want to beat, and Killua had the capability of actually doing that. So we're looking at second place Jeremy Lindley here, and this is probably the tightest Sherry Christie list you're going to see this entire tournament. So yeah, other than that, this is pretty standard at this point. You're looking at Dark Alices who are able to interact with your Shahryar. Instead of getting banished, you simply banish the top card of your deck instead, and she is able to essentially net you 4 cards, 2 in the RFG, 2 in your hand, which you can then ship back with things like a Replicant Kaguya. Very, very powerful. Lumia's Rage is also really good for just ending the game, and Shahryar just helps you to funnel that in. That's why we're playing a couple of Almeria Stones, which ultimately turn your Pure Heart Stone into Almeria Stones when they hit the field. So you're looking at upwards to, gosh, 6 Almeria Stones possible. Even with like 3 or 4 cards in your RFG, you're looking at some pretty insane amounts of damage, which definitely synergizes with Magic Stone Dance as well. The one of Electra is to end the game, sort of progression, because it's just a very good cancel package. Asmodeus attendant here is really solid, not just for being able to ramp you stones, in the sense of like you tap all your stones, you ramp them back into recovered position, and then you're able to use them again, which is really helpful, but you're also removing 5 from the top of your deck in order to fuel your Lumia's Rage or even your Replicant Kaguyas, which is also really, really good. A couple of Perseus, a couple of Persephones, a Tinkerbell to just blow up the board, 1 Muse staring at main boarded, and Girl staring at probably the second MVP generic card of the entire GP. This card caused me a lot of trouble in my exhibition game. In particular, this card plus Conflict is just kind of crazy. So everything going on in the game, this is the deck to look at in order to make sure you understand what's going on. Playing a couple of Killuas in the sideboard, couple of Exorcist Mages, Rogue Shiva as well. And then, yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is a pretty tight and pretty well put together list. So congratulations to Jeremy for getting into the top 2. His brother Matthew gets into the top 3 with the one of Almeria's 0 deck. This deck was kind of wild, in the sense that Dodgy was a really powerful card, being able to send your 3 of dragons here to the graveyard and make it so that any life your opponent tried to gain off of, say, like a Lumia, just got redirected and hit them back, which was really crazy. 1 Calamity Shield, 1 Dark Alice, couple of GSTs here, Girl staring at, couple of main boarded Exorcist Mage, Reign of Saints in the main board as well, alongside some other burn package things, which were Really kind of impressive. The idea with this deck is to judgment on 1 with Almerius. And so you basically have barrier and +4/+4 from Zero's initial abilities that start the game. Beginning of game triggers makes then Almerius a huge flyer that can just swing in and you can't destroy. So at that point you have 7k life, you have a really strong flyer on the field, and then you are just in a position where I'm just going to draw into my burn spells. So if you can't answer this Almerius, I'm just going to kill you with it, or I'm just going to find some burn spells and just burn you out. 4 Raging Messiah in the main kind of gives you an idea of what this deck is ultimately trying to do. Magic Stone deck is Magic Stone of Awakening. This is really solid because you do have a light J-Ruler when you do Judgment of Almerius or of Zero, which, by the way, Matthew was making Zero quite reliably. Hey, I'm going to put out this Almerius. You have to answer this Almerius. If you do, that's fine. I have a Zero that can blow up your board and also just be a huge beat stick, which is really helpful. So whenever you do the Judgment of a Light Ruler, you recover your stone, which is really helpful. Moonshades and a couple of 4C stones just to make sure that you always have the correct mana in order to play your spells. Side deck is Damascus Moon, Curse of Magog, 3 Excalibur the Godsword. This is just here to make sure that you can generate extra will with your one of mained Excalibur. Rogue Shiva, an Exorcist Mage, another charge, and then of course you have your Horn, and then one of Sub-Ruler for your Electras that you are mainboarding. Very strong deck. Definitely put on a lot of pressure, and it was a different take on aggro, which I thought was really interesting. The theory, I guess, being that if you have 7k life, your opponent's going to have a much harder time killing you because they don't have Almerius, and so you are going to be able to burn them out a lot faster than they can burn you out. Congratulations to Matt for getting into the top 3. That was kind of nuts watching this thing on stream. It was kind of super fun. He was playing against Drik Maganza, who ended up with 4th. This is probably my favorite deck coming out of the GP. I'm definitely going to be building this for myself going in here. So we definitely have Seer the Blue Moon and Christie. Christie is here to just essentially draw you cards, and Seer is here so that you have access to Trials of Kaguya, which gives you access to these 5 treasury items that are in your EX deck. In addition to that, you're playing a bunch of elves, including the one of Zeus Alice in the Diversity Palace as a win condition. The whole point of the deck is to essentially rip cards out of your hand with Alberic. Alberic then is going to be able to swing in and deal a whole bunch of damage to that thing. Hunter's Area makes it so that anything that's coming in that is an elf is going to get a little bit of a buff depending on how many elves you actually have. Lorite, by the way, is an elf, which is really helpful. So is Zeus Alice, because she's everything, which is funny. I think we looked it up. I think she's 30k with Diversity Palace on board, which is a little insane, a little over the top. He's playing a lot of cancels here as well. He's playing 4 Kilo in the City, 3 Girion, 3 Replicant Kaguya, 4 Sword of Prague, 4 Conflict. He's playing Liberation of the Winds as a way to say I have uninteractable destruction of things on your field, so your Abduls always feel bad alongside my 2 mainboarded attack order. And then he's playing one of Girl Staring At and Muse Staring At. Magic Stone deck, pretty average, frankly. He's not playing any true Magic Stones, so really what he's playing is essentially 6 Moonshades, right? 2 of which are actual Moonshades, and the rest are pure Heart Stones. Just generate any sort of will you want, as long as your rulers are Grim Rulers. And then he's just playing a couple of 4C Stones and 1 Amadeus Holy Crystal. Side deck is Rogue Shiva, Robe the Fire Rat to just say, hey, you're a red deck. Nope. You don't get to do that. 3 of the Mimi Tribe Brothers, which I think is really great. 3 Mimi Tribe Hunters. And then just some basic, really good stuff in the sideboard for helping up close up other matchups. Congratulations to Derek. Again, I love this deck. I want to pilot it. There's a lot of really fun and really funny things that you can do in this particular deck because of the treasury items you get access to. So congratulations to him for getting into the top 4. Top 8 is going to be one of my best friends, Dalton Slokum, getting into the top cut again with one of the Kilo decks, main decking the Darkness Child, and basically just saying, let's go. This is the shell is pretty much like what you can expect from a Kilo deck, so I'm not going to go over it too much. He is main decking 4 Grand Leons, though, so let's just keep that in mind. He was playing a couple of scythes in the sideboard alongside 1 Black Witch, 2 Elemental, Evil Elemental Uprisings, Rogue Shiva once again, and 4 attack order to just say no, no Abdul, no. And then he was citing the 1 Wind Child as well. Congratulations, buddy, for getting to the top cut. Daniel Moretto is here with the Brunhild deck. Now, you probably did not see Brunhild on your bingo card and think that it was going to crack into the top 8. It was actually one of the other rune rulers that was in contention. We had a really weird tournament situation all day. I'll get back to that at the end of the video a little bit. But between Brunhild and Lich, we were definitely going to have a rune ruler in the top cut. Give me just a second here. I'm just gonna do something real quick. Boop. So Brunhild was interesting. It was playing the Artillerist package and trying to do Harvest Season on 1, which is what most rune decks tend to do. But the idea is that I'm gonna mill a whole bunch of stuff off the top of my deck and just get bonuses as a result of it. So things like King's Hopeful Dream, King's Hopeful Dream generates you advantage if you mill it. Alongside Pandora, it allows you to +8/+8 your field, and plus give you 2 cards as well for free because you were able to play it for the first time for free if it's unsealed. Pandora unseals light spells, like number 13 as well, so that was really powerful. The other idea is that if you mill any of your Brunhilds, they automatically get removed from the game. So now your Artillerists are giving you more value in general. If you're able to dump an Allosaurus as well, you're going to be doing at least, I believe that's a 7 cost in the Void symbol there. So you're going to be doing at least 1,800 damage plus whatever the Brunhilds are stacking on top of that, which is really powerful. Beginning of Light is there to help you recover some stuff when it gets milled into the graveyard. It triggers to come back into the field, and then you are able to tap it to recover any of the things that have been milled that turn, which is really helpful if you need an Artillerist or a Pandora in your hand in order to facilitate your combos. Outside of that, you have things like Keep the Faith and Light Curtain to help fuel your RFG. And you have a whole bunch of really good runes in your deck. So you essentially start with 10 cards in your opening hand. Magic Stone deck is just a pretty standard consistency list. The side deck, just a Rogue, no Shiva. Which, I mean, I guess is fine because you only have 4 multicolored stones, but kind of makes sense as to why you would do that. So the 1 Rogue is here. 2 more Light Curtain, Peaceful Valkyries. Just a ton of attack orders in the sideboard to say no to Abdul, Death Scythe, and Damascus Moon. Damascus Moon was also everywhere in this GP. Very powerful edition right now. So congratulations to Daniel Moreno for that. Daniel Negretti is next with another Kilo deck. Stop me if you've seen this before. There is that one, I think, I'm not sure what this card is, but it's way back from Alice Cluster. The name escapes me at this moment, but it just minuses your opponent's field, which is really helpful for clearing Eternal cards right now. As you may or may not know, if you have Eternal, there's a recent change of the CR that says if your stats hit 0 from a stat neg, you are moved to the graveyard, so Eternal no longer functions that way. It's more like indestructible from Magic, if I recall what people were saying. This Magic Stone deck is pretty similar. You're just looking at a standard consistency deck to be able to make sure that you have access to the colors you need, mostly skewing toward red, which kind of makes sense with your stat neg card in the main board. Side deck is Darkness Moonchild. Again, no Shiva, but just a Rogue. Some Stifling and some you made me try members here as well. Oh, wait, never mind. They just put Shiva in a weird place. Okay, so there is Rogue Shiva in the sideboard as well. Evil Elemental Uprising and other good stuff in the sideboard. Congratulations to Daniel for getting into the top 8. Kaiden Bush is here, and God, I hope I said it right, buddy. Kaiden is here with another Killua deck. This is one of our many members in our Michigan group who decided, hey, we're just going to abandon everything and just play Killua, and it turns out that was the right choice, because this is essentially what everyone was playing in our group going into this event for the most part. I know Dalton specifically was like, it's either this deck or this deck, and I think I'm going to pick Killua. And so he just said, hey, just going to play Killua, and Kaiden sort of did the same thing. Just reconstructed Killua and just went into this tournament. Pretty similar build to Dalton's overall. The side deck is a little bit different. He is playing Rogue Shiva alongside 2 Black Witch and 3 Roamers, which I think Roamer was a really solid pick next to Curse of Magog in particular. I've not been a huge fan of Curse of Magog, but given the amount of card advantage that people are going after right now, it seems like a really strong card you might want to consider in your side deck. Other than that, the tournament was ultimately very strange going into rounds 5 and 6. A lot of people had draws, so we had a lot of people doing win-ins, and so a lot of people who didn't make it into the top cut honestly really could have, because their records were very strong, but because of the wide fields and then needing to play tight, that's ultimately what determined who got into the top 8. So a lot of really good stuff here. I know Odin was really strong. There was some other really strong other really strong decks going into round 6 that just simply didn't make it, including Lich. That didn't quite make it as well either, but that was GP Minnesota. We're going to be jumping over to Poissy here in just a second. Just FYI though, we don't have deck lists yet. So here is your tournament data. Again, we saw a lot of aggro in Poissy as well with Aristella Little Red and Killua. Seer Christie was by far one of the other really favored decks going into this tournament. And ultimately, Grim Alice ended up winning the entire thing. It was one of 2, I believe. It was one of 1, excuse me, if I was just doing my math here correctly. Aristella Little Red and Killua definitely went into the tournament with the most represented top spots, kind of like what we had here in the US, but a little bit of a different aggro spread, and Grim Alice ultimately ended up taking that tournament. Hopefully we will have deck profiles up on the website here once we get access to them. Other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this tournament report with yours truly. Next time, we'll be looking at one of the online GPs that's going to be happening here in May. And until then, this has been Paul. Class is dismissed.